What's going on, everybody? Kenny Bomb is in the building, and it looks like Johnny Cage is going through a pretty big character shift in Mortal Kombat 1. The dialogue between him and Liu Kang and their character intros is very interesting and only leads to a lot of speculation. So y'all know we gotta talk about it. But first, thank y'all for tuning into this video. If you like it, help me out by dropping a like on it. And we're trying to figure out where this story is going before we even get there. So if you like speculation videos like this, make sure you don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Now let's get into it.
Run, boy, they coming now.
Alright, before we get into it, if you guys want to follow me on X, you can follow me at KennyBomb4K. If you want to follow back, send me a message and we'll get it done. But our story today comes from CastCage45, who posted this character intro between Johnny Cage and Liu Kang. Let's check it out and we'll talk about it.
So last time around, I hooked up with someone else?
Spoilers, Johnny Cage.
Alright, so Johnny Cage says, so last time around, I hooked up with somebody else, which means he's hooked up with somebody in this timeline, but it's not Sonya Blade. And before we go any further, why is Liu Kang even telling them about a previous timeline? If he's seen any time travel shows or anything, he should know that's a big no-no. What are we doing, Liu Kang? But before we go into our deep investigation, let's talk about the possibilities. So first off, we can't skip over the fact that Liu Kang said spoilers, Johnny Cage, which means Johnny Cage may still end up with Sonya when all is said and done. But should Johnny Cage end up with Sonya Blade? I don't think so. You know what? I think Sonya Blade should have been with Jax all along. Now, Johnny Cage always did flirt with Sonya Blade, but she was never interested, never gave him the time of day. But if you look at her relationship with Jax, you could see there was something there. Even though it was mostly a work relationship, you could see there could be more to it, especially in that first Mortal Kombat movie. But Johnny Cage never gave up. He kept pushing, and eventually, he got that connection with Sonya Blade, which is a good lesson, fellas. Never give up. Just because she says no a million times does not mean no. You gotta stay persistent and keep going for it. But be careful, because there's a thin line between persistent and harassment. Just keep that in mind. So it looks like Sonya and Jax will be taking a backseat in this timeline because they seem to be cameos only. Now I'm hoping that leaves room for Johnny Cage to find his partner on this main roster, especially since he mentions them in his intro. That would leave room for Sonya and Jax to get together. That leads us to our new Kombat kids, Jackie Briggs and Cassie Briggs. I think the dynamic between those characters would be so much better if they were sisters. And what if they were twins? Think about the cameo possibilities. But where does that leave Johnny Cage? We know he's hooking up with somebody because he just said it in this clip. And it could be a random NPC, but if they don't got Chloe Bailey or Kylie Jenner scanned in the game, what are we doing? I think it's definitely going to be somebody on this roster. But if it's somebody on the base roster, who could it be? I think I know who it is. Let's take a look at our options and then I'll show y'all why I think I know who it is. Alright, so this is our roster so far, and I think we can kind of scratch off the first name we have on the list here because Li Mei just wouldn't really make sense. Based on what she has going on in this story that we've seen so far, her hooking up with Johnny Cage would just kind of be like thrown out of left field, and I don't think that would make sense at all. We look at Baraka. Baraka's going through more in life than he needs to be worried about dealing with somebody else, so pretty sure it's not Baraka. Geras, of course, he's a keeper of time. That's not going to happen. Ashra is our resident demon on the roster. I don't think Johnny Cage is going for that. Tanya, we've seen her link with Melina, so I'm sure that's not going to be the case. Havoc has half of a face. Johnny Cage is a Hollywood star. That's not going to happen. I think it's going to be Shang Tsung. Absolutely not. We got young Syzoth. I don't know. Kind of a pretty boy, right? So Syzoth could be a contender, but I don't think so. I think he's a traitor, and he's going to end up with Shao Kahn and the boys. We got Sub-Zero. I think Sub-Zero would probably be linked with Serena still, maybe, unless they completely throw that out the window. And there's our next combat kid. We can have a combat kid from Bihan and Serena. Y'all know that statement, it'll be a cold day in hell. There you go. Scorpion, you know what? I don't know what's going on with Scorpion in this game. He's not even playable in the beta, shockingly, so I don't think it's going to be Scorpion. We got Raiden. I don't think Raiden's worried about partners. We got Melina, of course, linked to Tanya if she's going to be linked to anybody. We got Kitana, linked to Liu Kang. But is she still linked to Liu Kang? maybe Johnny Cage takes his woman. We got Rain, he's over there doing it up with Shao Kahn, worried about magic, so I don't think that's going to happen. And Smoke, another one, who we really don't know too much about. Interesting moveset, but I think he's still going to die. Now, there is one man we skipped over. Now, you got to think about it. They've been pairing these characters off in meaningful ways since the first time we saw this game. You think of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, now they're brothers, used to be enemies. Melina, Kitana, they have been sisters. You think about Raiden and Kung Lao. I don't know how these two are paired because these are actually two characters that we don't know much about, but apparently they're Earthrealm warriors who have been paired together somehow. We don't know. Maybe Liu Kang just put them in the same village, whatever. But every time we see Johnny Cage, he's always paired with one other character. And that character is Kenshi. Now this whole thing started because Johnny Cage had the Sento. Kenshi ran up in Johnny Cage's house and Johnny Cage beat the brakes off Kenshi. So it looks like Kenshi was not able to get the sword back. If we look at that Banished trailer, it looks like Johnny Cage even still had the sword on his back at that point. But it's a pretty simple story. Johnny Cage has the Sento, which belonged to Kenshi's ancestors. Kenshi wants it back. Johnny Cage won't give it back to him, so their connection or their beef makes sense. Just at face value. But when you add more to it, it gets deeper than that. When you listen to that character intro and pair that with the statement Ed Boon made about the two, it got me convinced. So let's take a look at the way Ed Boon answered the question about the relationship these two have. And this was posted by Traditional W on X. The question was, on the topic of Kenshi, how does he fit into the story of MK1? If you can share any details about him specifically. So even better, this question didn't even mention the relationship between Kenshi and Johnny Cage. But here's how Ed Boon answered it. We don't have a lot of details we can share, but as you saw in the trailer, certainly there's a relationship between Johnny Cage and Kenshi. Now, relationship can mean a wide range of things, and I don't think as soon as this game starts, these two are going to be together, but I do think it's going to build up to that point. And as we read the rest, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So he goes on to say, Johnny Cage purchased Kenshi's sword, and he basically wants to get it back. That's their main conflict, and Johnny Cage paid like $3 million for it, so obviously, he's not just going to give it up. But then, they have a really great story arc together, and there's a bond between the two that's really going to pay off. So how is this bond going to pay off? Is Johnny Cage just going to be like, you know what, Kenshi, you're a good guy. I'm going to give you the sword. I mean, maybe in a sense, but would that be a good payoff? Just, you know, them going through a story and at the end, he just gives him the sword. I don't think that payoff is going to be big enough. Unless they build up this sword to become a part of who Johnny Cage is in this story, I don't know if the payoff is going to be big enough. And think about it. They wanted a gay character in Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat X, but unfortunately, Kung Jin sucked. Cassie Cage made it back. Jackie Briggs made it back. Takeda's making it back in Mortal Kombat 1. Kung Jin never came back. The guy sucked. But to be honest with y'all, I don't care if Johnny Cage is gay or bisexual because Liu Kang did say spoiler, so he could be with Kenshi now and he could be with Sonya down the line, but that would serve a big part of the audience, especially making one of the main characters gay. It might even be a big win for NRS. And this could lead us to getting Cassie and Jackie Briggs, two mixed queens going crazy on the Mortal Kombat roster. You killed 3 woke birds with 1 stone. Let's get to that. But let me know in the comment section what y'all think about Johnny Cage and Kenshi getting down in Mortal Kombat 1. Looking at the roster, Kenshi's kind of the only one that makes sense. I mean, based on how everything's going with this story. So let me know what y'all think about it. If it ain't Kenshi, who is it? Let me know in the comment section. But thank y'all for tuning in to another crazy speculation video. As long as they put these thoughts in my head, I'm gonna have to give them to y'all. Don't forget to drop a like on it and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one, because you know it's coming. Bomb Squad. Let's get that.